Tori Ann Perky here. From my homeschool to your homeschool, let's talk about how you can make applying to college for your homeschooler just a little bit easier, even if your kids aren't even old enough that you're even really thinking about college, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to teach you a simple trick that's going to make those applying years so much easier right now. I wish I'd known this trick when my kids were little, but I didn't get started till a little bit later, so I want to save you some grief and some pain. Because the reality is, applying for college is a big deal, and it takes a lot of work. And colleges are looking for way more in your homeschool kids than just, what classes they took. They want to know about their leadership. They want to know about their extracurricular. They want to know about the kid. They want to know if it's the kind of kid who's really going to fit into their school environment. And because of that, their applications across the board, regardless of what school you're trying to get into, are going to be asking questions about a variety of different topics. And if you wait until your kid is 16 to start applying for college and you're trying to remember everything that your kid did that you could put on this application, talk about freak out zones. So right now, no matter how old your kids are, I want you to do this. I want you to create a master document either in Google Docs or Evernote or wherever you keep these kinds of lists. And I want you to start just writing down the things your kids do. Now, you don't have to do this every day or even every week, but I recommend you put a reminder on a calendar or phone and look at it at least, once or twice, maybe 3 times a year. And as your kids get older, probably want to do it more often. Now, what do you put in this master doc? What do you put in this document? Because you're going to use this document when it comes time to apply for college. Years and years later, you're going to use the things on this list to fill out this master application. So what do you include on the list? Well, here's some ideas of different categories to include. And I'm going to include a link with this video, and you can download a free PDF that's going to walk you through all these steps as well. If you would like that, I want to give that to you because, it's super fun to make that kind of stuff. Okay. So what do you need in this? Well, the first thing I would put on the list, this master list, the master college application list, is the books that your kids have read. Now, if your kids are anything like mine, I get some that are such voracious readers that the list would be hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of books long. You do not have to write them all. What we're looking for is the classics, the ones that are going to show that they're well read, they're well educated, and that they have really kind of moved through a variety kinds of literature, both fiction and nonfiction. If they have certain magazines they read regularly, Popular Science or National Geographic or whatever, you can include those there as well. So you're looking for a list of books and other things that they read that are classics. If you have certain religious books that your kids are reading on a regular basis, I would include those as well. The second thing that you want to put down is activities. What are the things that they've done? And these are activities in a school setting, like with a local homeschool co-op, or maybe if they've gone part-time, or extracurricular things like orchestra or rock climbing or dance or whatever your kids have been doing that outside of academia that makes them more well-rounded. You can list those. And you can list the years that they've been doing them, because that way you can show that they did it for 5 years or 2 years. That's just going to be information that's going to be helpful. So I just list the year they start, and then it just keeps going from there. You can also list the leadership positions they've had, whether they've had a leadership position in like a student council setting in your school co-op, whether they've had leadership at church, whether they've done it in the community, whether they've volunteered somewhere. We're going to talk about volunteering can go in a couple places, but you can certainly put those down. Any service opportunities, this is where volunteer would go in 2 different places. If they cleaned up something, if they did an Eagle project, that's a huge one. But if they're engaged in any kind of service, even small service projects, write it down. You can use potentially that later, and you don't know, so you're going to write it down now. Any classes or that they've taken, and you don't have to get super detailed, but starting in about 7th grade, I would start writing down, and I recommend that you just write down every class that your kid is in. And if you are radical unschoolers and there's no classes, then you want to describe what school looked like in a way that you can kind of remember the major projects they were engaged in or the major activities that you did as a family. So you have some kind of transcript building material later on. You want to write down another category is awards and achievements. If they're given an award because they win a contest or because they win something at an event, any awards, any achievements, if the local community honors them in some way, you want to write those down. Any jobs that they've held, any entrepreneurial type things that they've done, you can totally include those. And those are just some of the categories that I recommend. If there's any, and so I would go through and I just would, create bold headings, and then I would just be plugging stuff in. It might be totally empty if your kid is 9 or 10, but as they get older, 7th grade, 8th grade, 9th grade, you'll start to fill those in. And if you see a gap, then you know that might be something you want to encourage your kid to do so they come across as more well-rounded when they are getting ready for the college application process. So once again, this is just an easy, simple way to make the applying part so much easier. I have a free PDF that you can grab at the link below or above, wherever it is, so that you can access this information. So you don't have to, if you're listening this in a place where you can't scribble that down. And I'll have some details about the different categories and some examples. I think it's going to be super helpful. It's going to make your life so much easier. Go do it right now. All right, I'm Tori Ann Perky, and from my homeschool to your homeschool, I give you these tips and tricks and resources every week so that you can be a super successful and confident homeschool mom.